What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for The Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2. This is episode 12, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
So, initially, after I watched this episode, I thought this was the season finale until I found out, looking back, that this was supposed to be 13 episodes. And then, of course, I checked again, confirming this. Not to mention that there was an episode preview of this that just came out earlier today. On YouTube, but honestly, this overall season, I really wish this could have been 2 course, because this is this entire season covers at least 5 light novel volumes, and honestly, I really thought they could have expanded this even further. Due to the number of when they first announced this season back in 2019 at the Crunchyroll Expo, and not to mention that they delayed it at least maybe a couple times due to the pandemic. I thought this maybe they could have had time to expand this into two cores, but suddenly they just chose not to, and it just didn't feel eventful to me when I watched this.
Yeah,
too much was. I felt like, even when I read the first, the Spirit Tortoise arc in the light novels, there was more in that compared to what we just watched in the first half of this.
Right. Well, that's what I mentioned too before we started recording, that it felt like there was a lot more detail in this arc as well that was left out, and it just kind of seems that way based on the way things are going in the anime, and the pacing really just gets progressively worse, I think, as they went through this arc. At first, it actually wasn't too bad, but as it went on, it started to get, it felt like they were just kind of glossing over a lot of stuff and going through trying to go through the plot as fast as possible. And it really felt that way here too, because this confrontation with Kyo, it's really not even a fight. It's just, and not to mention, I didn't really care, because the way they've portrayed Kyo's character so far, this episode doesn't really do anything to change my opinion about Kyo as a character. And it does, I remember somebody in the comments said they do try to flesh out his character, I guess, and they kind of tried to do that in the beginning of this episode, because they basically show that, I guess, Kyo was, in a previous life, he was a NEET or a shut-in, and he just played games all day or something. And the weird thing about that is they were kind of trying to I guess parallel that with Naofumi before he went to the other world, is that they were both shut-ins and all that. But Naofumi is also pretty different from Kyo in terms of personality. Kyo was kind of the same, he kind of acted the same in his other life that he does here. He just kind of has this anger towards people and is mad about his own life, or disgusted with people, or whatever. He already had those villainous traits, it seemed.
Okay. Well, for Kyo, for instance, he was shown as this overweight shut-in person, never really interacted with anyone else.
Right.
Compared to Naofumi, he despite the fact that he is an otaku, he had time to interact with several people. He still had his family with him, including he also has a little brother that he interacts with too, but we never really get to see that in the anime, unfortunately. It was kind of described in the light novel, by the way, but it's kind of glossed over, but we know that Naofumi did have that previous interactions in his life.
Yeah. But that's pretty much how the episode starts. I mean, they do try to flesh out Kyo, but it's just, it feels like it's all too late at this point anyway, because we're pretty much at the end of the season. So they could have done this before. They could have tried to make Kyo a more compelling character, but I feel like they just really missed the chance to do that. And it's really they don't really even try to do it at this point either. So I kind of just I pretty much have the same opinion. I just don't think he's a very good villain. Um, and I don't know. I kind of feel, I really feel like this arc had a lot more potential than the Spirit Tortoise arc, but it just decided to rush through the plot and gloss over a lot of stuff. So I kind of end up feeling more or less the same way about this arc that I did about the Spirit Tortoise arc, where I'm just not really invested in what's happening. And I really feel like that's due to the terrible pacing and them just rushing through everything like they have.
Yeah, not to mention like some of the stuff they revealed in this episode kind of got glossed over, unfortunately. So, so they're already at Kyo's hideout, in which they immediately go up against what was it?
It's like a homunculus.
Kazuki's like almost like like half animal chimeras or something like that. And they easily get dispatched by Raphtalia with her, with her katana vassal weapon. Then they go up against like, supposedly this resurrected or zombified version of Kazuki, who Raphtalia ended up killing in the last episode. Well, even though he did it himself by just moving around when he was not supposed to. And supposedly he's using the soul of I guess the wielder of the mirror vassal weapon, which he ends up using against the party, but he ends up getting easily dispatched by Raphtalia as well.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. It's like they brought him back and then he just dies just as easily.
Yeah, and so this leads into the final confrontation with Naofumi alongside Risha to go up against Kyo, and of course the fight goes on with Kyo just consistently taunting Naofumi of his failures, which leads to Naofumi being enraged and then bringing back his curse shield again, and it nearly consumes him thanks to I think it was the what was it? I think it was the dragon beast thing that he defeated back in season 1, attempting to consume him, and then Risha goes to try to calm Naofumi down, and Naofumi just basically nearly strangles her, just calling her out, and all the times when she was with his party, calling her weak, wanting to be with Itsuki at times, and saying something. Well, I'm not sure if I should really say it here, but
yeah, I mean, he pretty much just calls her all the names he could think of, which I thought was really interesting that he kind of his like. Well, and the thing too is, I'm not sure if this is like actually how he really feels, or is this like the personality of the dragon coming out and like consuming him. So I don't know. I thought this scene was actually pretty interesting, just because like it kind of, I wouldn't say like I'd call Naofumi a bland character, but I kind of liked that it felt like we kind of get to see like if this is his really like how he really feels, like his actual like thoughts about his thoughts about certain things, and it kind of seemed like this might be closer to how he can be sometimes in the source material.
Yeah, he kind of displayed these similar feelings during the first season. I think it was back in when he was fighting the Pope. Back in season 1. This one is more or less a continuation of that. And so, of course, Naofumi manages to get control of himself once Ost steps in and brings Naofumi back into his senses. And then, of course, Raphtalia and Philo come back, and then they bring the mirror vassal weapon that used to be wielded by Kazuki, and give it to Naofumi to use against Kyo. And then of course I would say it wasn't even fight, to be honest, because it was just like almost like a Kamehameha wave or Dragon Ball like beams going up against each other. And then like once Raphtalia and Philo bring the mirror vassal weapon to him, Naofumi uses it to his advantage and then just blasts away Kyo, and then supposedly defeating him, assuming if he's really dead.
Yeah, like he says something like, I forget the exact line, but he says like, you think you've defeated me, or you're wrong, or something like that. So I guess like he may or may not come back. I don't know. I almost don't want him to come back. He's like I said, I think he's like probably he's a really weak villain. Unless they like completely rewrite his character, like I don't care.
I think it has more to do with how they portrayed his character in the anime compared to how they portrayed him in
well,
the light
yeah, I
novel.
think
Now,
that's probably what it is. I mean, like I said, it's and this is the problem with like the entire like how it's been adapted, or at least how season 2 is being adapted, is that it's of course probably not being faithful to the source material. Because a lot of people are probably going to point out how I don't know, maybe Kyo is a totally different character in the source material.
Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't read the last 3 volumes of this story arc, but I do know when I was reading the Spirit Tortoise arc, there was a lot more detail in the light novel compared to how they how they adapted it in the anime, because I'd say there was like more than half of the stuff that was missing in that storyline.
Yeah. But yeah, they pretty much quickly dispatch Kyo. I like was it the last episode or this episode we kind of learned about like how at first like I think we learned like he was trying to create the waves for some other purpose, like he was trying to stop the waves or something, but it turns out he wasn't.
They didn't really go into that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that. They brought it up and then they just kind of, I don't know. I was really confused about that. Like it sounded like he had there was some other reason for what he was doing, but we don't really find out about that. So,
I mean, hopefully, if I do manage to get, the what was it, the 3 light novel volumes, that was adapted by this arc. I mean, I'll probably find out later, but I would assume that there could have been a better reason as to why Kyo did what he did.
Yeah.
But this episode just like really doesn't do that, unfortunately. And once they defeat Kyo, Naofumi and the others immediately teleport back to the other world. And not before saying their quick goodbyes to Kizuna and everyone else.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I really wish they could have spent more time with them, but it just seems like they just needed to give them an excuse to bring them back.
And it sucks because I was actually looking forward to Naofumi maybe being on the same side with like Glass and those other characters, but I really don't feel anything about it now because it's just we don't really have any time for them to actually like develop as characters or develop their relationship at all. It just kind of happens really quick, and
yeah. Well, there are some minor spoilers. I do notice that that Naofumi and the others are supposedly going to go back to the other world based on like some of the light novel covers I seen in the future volumes. So it's like it's just not the last time we'll see Kizuna or everyone else. So it's possible that they will bring them back over there for whatever reason. But as of right now, the way that this episode ended is like almost anticlimactic at this point.
And of course, the post-credit scene, right? Like Naofumi is recognized by the kingdom and it has even a higher status than before. Like I don't know, it's so annoying at this point. Like it's like the first season, like he really had to work to get to where he is, and now it just feels like everything, in my opinion, like comes way too easily for it. Like he just, I don't know, like there's almost no effort, and he gets all these accolades, he gets all these achievements. He's just like, now he's like this really, he's more than redeemed himself, really.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if we remember, like, at the end of season 1, he was awarded to be the Lord of Raptalia's Village. Well, in the original source material, he gets awarded Raptalia's Village after this arc.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like, why, like, why would he need like his status to be elevated even further for this one?
That's
if he's already
pretty much, yeah. That was what was kind of frustrating to me about it. Of like, I mean, I guess because of the Spirit Tortoise thing, really, because like after that he was just in the other worlds, or he wasn't there. So I guess that's why. But yeah, they, of course, after he gets that, we kind of have this really brief scene where like Richiya and like Itsuki kind of look at each other and like they make Itsuki like, I guess, like briefly smiles at her or something, and it really felt like they brushed that whole, like, I guess it was supposed to be a subplot in the source material. They completely brushed it under the rug. in the anime, and they really don't acknowledge it. Well, they acknowledge it very, very briefly, but they never go over it again. And I feel like maybe this is their way of just kind of, I don't know, just kind of ignoring it, or just being like, okay, well, I guess they're okay with each other now for whatever reason. I don't know. I thought that whole thing was weird.
Yeah. And then we get like a very brief montage of some new characters that are supposedly going to be in season 3.
Yeah.
Depending on how that's going to be adapted, that's going to be another
I
question.
really don't have much hope for that season 3, considering the way season 2 is played out. Honestly, like if they're going to do it the same way they've done season 2.
Yeah, and then of course we have one more episode, which I'm curious of what they're going to be doing on that episode.
Well,
because
yeah, we got a preview for it recently, and I really didn't know what to make of it. I mean, I don't think it's been translated, but it doesn't seem like there's I guess it's supposed to be an epilogue. Yeah, that's really all it is. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's much that happens based on what I saw of the episode. I mean, based on the preview, it seems like the episode 13 is going to slow the pacing way down, of course, as it's the last episode, which is annoying. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what to expect from it, honestly. It's probably going to tease season 3. It's to some extent, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, my overall opinions of this season, it's just not. Yeah. I honestly, I really did have high hopes for the season, but just the way this entire season's been handled, I just really felt like I don't know what came over them to just adapt this the way they did. I really did think that they did have enough time to, probably tell a much better story than they should have.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe it's because they really want to adapt the entire story. So so they're just going to rush through stuff just to get to the end. Maybe that's the only thing I can.
But but the problem is the light novel is not finished. So, I mean, the web novel's done, but that story is significantly different than the light novels. And what was revealed when people read the web novels, Kizuna is not in the web novel story. So she's actually a light novel character.
Yeah, so they're going more for the light novel version.
Yeah, but I don't see the reason for them to literally rush this, all the way for how far they are in the light novels, because it's not done unless they're really trying to go for some kind of anime original ending, which I really hope they don't.
It could be. I mean, yeah, I kind of hope not, but yeah, that's the only thing I can figure. I don't know why else they would be rushing it like this.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see what's gonna happen in the season finale episode of season 2. But honestly, I just really wish this could have been better. My opinion is already baked in as to how the season performed. It just, it's. I mean, honestly, I really wish I tried so hard to like this season, but I just, I almost just can't bring myself to do so. After the way it was after the way it was that.
I was trying to convince myself that maybe it was because they really wanted to get through the Spirit Tortoise arc, and that they weren't going to treat the other arcs like that. Maybe the Spirit Tortoise arc was the one they wanted to get through the fastest, and then maybe the other ones weren't going to be that way. But of course, as we've learned, it seems like that's.
Even if that was the case for the Spirit Tortoise arc, there was still a lot of subplots within that storyline that could have been used to enhance the storyline, or potentially hint at something that they might put into season 3, not just just throw it in there and then just hopefully hoping that people will like it. That's not how good storytelling works. It's you have to build up to something in order for it to pay off. Just like how they did back in season 1, in which the whole plot line with Mine betraying Naofumi, accusing him of this of the false rape thing, and then of course it finally pays off by the end of the season afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, because
I
they pretty much spent the whole season on it.
Yeah, but I don't know why they couldn't have done the same thing with this season, and not just instead of like 13 episodes, just why not the 2 cores like they did in the first season? And people would have like invested more time on that. It's just I don't know why they wanted to rush through it so quickly like that.
Yeah, I really don't know. But yeah, that all being said, I don't really have too much else to say about this episode. It was all fairly underwhelming, and I really am not looking forward to the next one, to be quite honest. Like, I mean, I'm not really gonna care about whatever's gonna happen in it because I haven't been invested in whatever what both of these story arcs they've shown us in season 2. I mean, I can only hope that season 3 will be different, but I feel like this is a case where like they've already done some, even if it is better, I feel like they've already kind of done damage to the series overall because of how they handled the story arcs in season 2. But
I mean, I really hope that there's enough fan reaction just to convince the studio, just fix, just try to do better.
That's all they can do at this point because like I said, it's already happened. It's already here. Like they've already done damage to the to it the way I see it. It's kind of the same thing with Index season 3. It's like if they were to ever do season 4, they've significantly done there's so much stuff that they did not cover or that they glossed over in season 3 that if they were to bring it up in season 4, it's just people are just going to be more confused because they're not going to know who this character is or what the context of these certain things are because they didn't adapt it properly. And that's probably going to be the case with another season of Shield Hero because there may be some things that come up in whatever they're going to adapt for season 3 that we're not going to have the full, we're not really going to know about because they didn't really bother to adapt things properly in season 2. So it's just like when you think about it, they've caused themselves even more problems with any future seasons they might do because, there are certain things they've left out and that they would have to address in a future season. So yeah, which is why I'm really concerned for season 3 because of how they've handled this. But anyways, I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
Nah, I mean, I know there's another episode left, but I'm just hoping they do better in the next season, depending on when that's going to be coming out.
Yeah. Well, that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.